And now we're about to learn about MyFiziq with Vlado Bosanac. Thanks for joining me in the studio.
Absolute pleasure.
So first off, before we delve into the application, let's talk about the company.
Sure. So the company is a body scanning technology company. It was founded in 2015. We went to an IPO in August of 2015 with KTM and Foster's, and the guys backed us for a $6 million raising. The technology itself is based around the ability to scan the body through a mobile phone interface, and with that capability we give a user the ability to track any changes they might go through, whether it be in their training with their fitness, whether they're trying clothing online, or if it was an insurer or a wellness provider trying to understand the risk, if you like, that the policyholder or the user has to themselves or for the company to help them on their journey to be healthier.
It sounds like very interesting technology, a really interesting platform. Could you explain to me how you deploy this technology? I understand that you've got a bit of a modules model.
Sure. Well, what we've done is we initially launched it as a single application into the App Store, and from that we learnt very quickly that depending on who you were speaking to in regards to the usage of the application, you would find that everybody had a different need, so there was no one size fits all. So what we did then is my team pulled it down into a number of what we call SDK, System Development Kits, and those modules basically give the end company the capability to pick and choose whichever of the modules they want to use for their own user experience. So whether the only one we actually insist that they use is the capturing process, because that is where our tech is driven. But outside of that, they have an ability to track historic changes. So all the avatars somebody might have done in the fitness industry over years, if that's the case. If they were somebody using it in the application of putting clothing online or fitting clothing online, they have a capability to reach back and check themselves. If it was a insurer, for instance, they might like to have quarterly updates to understand the trajectory of the policyholder and how healthy they are being and their, if you like, physical position for them. So we give the companies a capability to be able to bolt whichever parts of the technology together to give them the data they're looking for.
So it is B2B, partnering with other companies, and you've had some big milestones recently, some big deals. Can you tell me about those? I know they'll help to illustrate further how you deployed this technology. For example, the Conor McGregor app, you're involved with that, an employee wellness platform in Singapore.
Yeah, so if I broke it down into, there were four major areas that we actually operate in. The clothing online space, because everybody's been through it. You buy something online and it arrives from wherever in the world it came from and it doesn't fit. So we give the apparel companies the ability to remotely fit you for their clothing. And again, this is a situation with clothing companies, they all dimension differently, because that's why you might like a Nike t-shirt versus an Under Armour versus an Adidas, because their IP is the way they cut and the way they measure you specifically to put their clothing on. So we give them the capability to measure you the way you like to wear Nike clothes. If it was Under Armour, the same, and so on and so on. If you move then sideways into the fitness world, we give the fitness enthusiast or a person on a diet or training or doing whatever they're doing, whether it be cycling, trying to get in shape, we give them an ability to, from day one, track change. Right now, the gold standard would be jumping on a scale. And the scale really only tells you if you're losing mass. Whilst that's great on just a weight loss regime, what you're really looking for is it that you're losing the size in the areas you really want to. So we give the individual the capability in the fitness industry to measure their body and see if it's being reduced in the areas that they like, and the ability to track it with that. So that data is super important with that. Then again, if we go into the insurance sector, which we talked about earlier on, we give the insurer the ability to understand the policyholder and understand the risk the policyholder has to the insurer, and the insurer understands then how to help the policyholder. Right now, insurers use BMI, and everybody knows it's a horribly inaccurate way to measure the body fat percentage, if you like, of the consumer. So what we have done is we've come up with a way to actually give true dimension with a, if you like, 3D hull of the person, where you can actually see what that person does look like. So with that capability, it assists the insurers greatly in understanding the risk and how to price policies. One step over from there is wellness. So in the wellness world, especially in places like the US, where the employer pays for the employee to have health insurance, it's super important that they understand, again, the risk and activity and outcomes that their employees are going through, and it gives them an engagement tool to bring that activity and fitness into their wellness programs and a way to track them and help them along that journey and give them feedback.
Tell me about some of the key deals that MyFiziq has done to date.
Okay, so we signed Fitocracy. That was late last year. So Fitocracy is one of the US leading fitness applications. So it is a social media training engagement application. They have 12 million active users, and from those 12 million users, they do everything from exercise programs to nutritional programs, personal training programs. It's a one-stop shop, if you like, for everything around fitness remotely from anywhere in the world. The piece that's missing from that is right now, if you are wanting to have an appraisal inside that application to see if those changes are taking place, you have to go to somebody to have that done, then enter that data remotely, manually. We give the capability to the application for someone to do it in the privacy of their own home, so it's instant feedback and quite often instant gratification. Also with the trainer, that can be then shared with the trainer wherever that person is in the world, to be able to look at that data and follow and track you into a dashboard where they can see all these changes that you're going through. So that's great in the fitness world. If you look at what we then moved on, and we did a deal with Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd's a powerhouse, 40 plus million social media followers. He's every time he turns to media for anything, it obviously works for him. He's Money Mayweather, not for any reason but the fact that he makes a lot of money. We are powering his app again in a very similar instance where he is giving his social media followers, if you like, the ability to train the way he does, eat the way he does, and fight prep the way he does through his application. With that, again, if people are especially trying to get to a fighting weight or reduce weight in general, the tracking capability of a digital app is ideal. It's the holy grail of that fitness world, to be able to do that privately and remotely. Because most people, no matter what shape they're in, they don't really want to strip down for somebody to have caliper tests and tapes run around them. So we give them the ability to do this privately within their own home. It's a single user experience and front camera, so they pop it up if they like in the bathroom and step back, and it takes all the photos that it needs to create the outcomes.
So the crucial question, Vlado, is to what extent is this technology proprietary? And can you tell me about the global reach of these patents?
Sure. So one of the things we're very proud of with MyFiziq is the fact that we have patent coverage. And we have patent coverage in major jurisdictions of the world, such as the US. So right now we have patents issued for Australia, Singapore, Korea, and the US, with a number of others we believe to follow shortly. From our side of things, we did what most people try to do when you go out for patents. I call it the Indonesian fisherman. We sent the net out as far as we could possibly throw it, hoping we would capture enough to protect the technology. What came back is all 53 claims that we had issued were granted. So Australia was first in January this year, followed very quickly later this year with the US, and smaller countries have started to fall in behind. With the US, our patent attorneys in the US looked at the patent claims and decided that we should only go for 48 claims in the US, because they're doubling up in a few things, and anybody that knows anything about patents knows the cost is just extraordinary to maintain these things. So they pulled a few of those off. We've ended up with 48 claims in the US, and then we've used that to go out to the rest of the world additionally to, if you like, reframe some of the other patents. The beauty of having the US patents is a lot of the other countries of the world look at those patents and know how diligent the US is on prior art, and have paid specific attention to those claims, and just then looked if anything else around them is interfering with our space, and we've had a clean bill of health. So what we've done is managed to, if you like, capture the ability to do this through a mobile phone, which is really where we want to be.
So some very compelling vertical lines for selling this technology. We understand the technology itself. I think we can all relate to that, that last description in particular. Tell me about your pathway to profitability. Tell me about how you scale the business.
Okay, well, we're a B2B application. We're not a B2C application. So we started our life, if you like, in the App Store, because we let it be released to Australia, if you like, to get an understanding of the user experience and have people in the real world use the application that have never used it. And from that, we had a lot of learnings. So you start out thinking it's going to work one way, and it never does, which they're the trials and tribulations of technology. But then with the fullness of time, as we improved the user experience, we withdrew it from the App Store, and it's only in a B2B application now. So we only offer the application into pre-existing large user groups. So whether that be a fitness first application where there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users on fitness first apps, if it's the Mayweather scenario, if it's in the insurance sector where insurers have 100 million people that they insure around the world. So we go into those environments and we monetize by making it inexpensive and easy to use for all of those people. So if you looked at the fitness world, we charge $1.50 a month per user, and it's a 12-month subscription. So it's $18 US a year to subscribe, and it's unlimited. I call it the Homer Simpson. So it's an all-you-can-eat. Go in there, use as much as you like, and track yourself as much as you like. And what we've then done is we've scaled it down, so it gives the fitness application plenty of room to make money out of having these additional capabilities also. So at 0 to 1 million users, they pay $1.50 a month. From 1 million to 3 million users, they pay $1 a month. And above 3 million, it's 80 cents a month. So it's super cheap and easy to use. So from the fitness world, when you look at what most of these applications cost, we're a little add-on, if you like, or a part of a gold upgrade, if you like, in some of those areas. So with Floyd, Photocracy, and obviously Connor, Ideal. In the insurance sector, we work a little bit differently because the insurance companies don't want to burden people with doing this. If they want to go on a fitness journey, that we can do something with them where it gives them the ability of more scale. But if they just want to do some tracking and assisting of the policyholder, we suggest once a quarter, because 90-day blocks gives them a good idea of how somebody might be trending with their health and any increases in circumference. So on that basis, it can be as cheap as $2 a year for them, but then the scale is enormous. When you look at companies, such as Prudential or even NIB here in Australia, 500,000 people with them. So the scalability of those environments is fantastic for us, but you need to give some leeway on pricing so it works for them and it's not a burden. In the clothing world, where we assist the clothing companies, we work on the basis of, if you like, the cart. So if somebody goes in and buys something and they use our technology to fit themselves, it's 5% of the first 5 million units in the shopping carts. It is then 4% up to 10 million units, and above 10 million units it's 3%. So from the apparel company's point of view, when you're looking at these enormous apparel companies, I think Google alone, or Amazon I should say, last year reported $62 billion in returns for the year in apparel, which is just enormous. If you can change that by just 10% for some of these companies, this goes back to their bottom line. This is profit that they get. They don't have to make more apparel, they don't have to send more out, they don't have to return more. So all of those costs are a burden to the company. And as a consumer, I would much prefer to have one chance at it and get it right myself as well.
So moving forward, Vlado, for MyFiziq, for your investors, what are those next big milestones and when do you expect those major news flows to happen?
Sure, well, we've had a lot of news flow in the last 30 days. And obviously we're working on transactions all the time. I presented a week ago in Las Vegas at InsurTech, which is one of the world's largest insurance conferences, and we were inundated. It was a fantastic result for the company. We launched our body fat application, which is coming into the tech just now, which is a new application within the technology that we've been training and getting ready for commercial release. So we demonstrated that to the insurance sector last week. And from that, we had over 60 insurers approach us. So that is a huge vertical for us. It's super important for the insurers, again, to understand this sort of information. They used a flawed BMI calculation, if you like, to understand where they think that policyholder sits. So we're giving them real data. And along with that, we're running a systematic review across over 10,000 science journals to demonstrate why the technology works and does what it's meant to do. So that's very exciting for us. We're obviously working hard in the apparel space. We have a number of very large companies talking to us at the moment. There's a process that you go into. You can never quite say when these things will come off, but we're showing them the technology, we're allowing them to use it, and that's all over the world. So some pretty exciting times ahead for the company.
Well, Vlado, it's been fascinating to learn about the technology, and I do look forward to speaking to you more about all those deals to come.
Thank you.
Thanks.